There it is. Here we are, October 23rd, 2024. And there's your loop playing. And as you can see, big event going on up there. And this clear, nice little cookie cutter clear core heading out right there with its teardrop tail. So, a few people gather. Just let this run for a minute while a few people gather here. Probably don't get many notifications anymore, so. Anyways, you can clearly see that one. And then another blast off the top. And then here in a minute, I'll show you the X flare that just went off. So there's that playing. Yeah, look at this clear one. You can totally see the teardrop shape on that. I mean, there's no missing that. I don't know what people are looking at or what they're perceiving is going on here, but pretty clear is what's going on. It's just a big case of denial, I think. Anyway, there's your activity for right now, and we'll start going through this frame by frame. And let me catch this opening frame right there. While we're doing that, let me take a moment to thank you guys for taking a moment of your time to be a part of this precious family. Guess it's lost how precious this family is. As you can see, these white streaks coming off the side right here. This is showing this magnetic field right here that's produced by this object. Maybe there might even be a medium-sized one hiding underneath this smaller one. But you can clearly see, hi, and thank you for being here, sweetie. You can clearly see this one. I mean, I watch all these other solar reports, and everybody just seems to neglect to miss the elephant in the room. You know, the big white spheroid right here just kind of passing through like it's nothing, you know, like it's right there plain as day, yet nobody seems to see it or seems to notice it. It just kind of doesn't exist because people block it out of their mind in denial or whatever, but there it is again, captured nice and clear. You can see the magnetic field around it stretching the you know, this plasma. And then it moves on out of frame. You see the perfect little teardrop shaped bow shock on the tail of it too. I mean, how you could not see this is just beyond me, but let's just pretend like it doesn't exist. And here's this event going off over here too. And you can see we had something big and round going on in here, in this area. You back in now? Oh, you want back out? Hang on. Yeah, go back out, Bubba. So, as you can see, we have another event that's going on over there. I rescued a cat. So as we continue on, you can see it moving out there, little satellites, you know, around this medium size, whatever's back hiding in there. It could be a little cluster of these objects too, but let me just kind of go like that a little more for you. Then, as you see, we get this little activity with an object moving inward. Let me back this up to right here. You see where our blue and red lines are. You can see where our blue and red lines are. Watch this object move inward towards the sun. As we progress forward, it moves inward. Probably ricocheting off a little boundary somewhere and coming off at another angle. All right, so there's your Yeah, none of the they're not describing the cause. There's all effect, 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 but usually when there's an effect, well, there's a cause to that effect, and there's your cause. Sorry, I just very sore tonight. I'm in a lot of pain, so just bear with me here. All right, so there's your activity for today. Clearly seen another stellar body interacting with the sun is all I can say about that. That's another stellar body other than our planets interacting with the sun, drawing plasma out. You can see it has a magnetic field around it because that's what's controlling these white bands of plasma bending around it. Clearly, there's a magnetic field. Well, if there's a magnetic field there, it doesn't just pop out of nowhere. It has to have this little object has a little dynamo inside of it spinning around, and it's generating its magnetic field right here, and you can see how the magnetic field interacts with the plasma of the sun, just like an IMF line would. It's not really all that tough. It's just tough to swallow is, I guess, the problem here. Okay, so there's that. Let me go ahead and start that really quick and let it play for a second, and then we'll bounce over here in a minute to our latest X flare. Okay, so let's come on over here to Solar Ham. As you can see, we have our X flare underway. It was an X 3.33 of all things, 3.33. Anyways, a strong X 3.3 solar flare was detected. Okay, solar flux indices at 186. It's up 10 points. It's climbing. We're getting close to the 200 mark where this box turns red. Our sunspot number count is in the green, and we're down 26. I could see why we're down 26 because we probably just interacted with a big object and a bunch of its little satellites, and now all those sunspots have dissipated. Our area in the green right now. Let's go ahead and pull this up. No, I don't want your political ad. I clicked on this. You greedy, greedy, greedy. Oh, this is so disturbing what's happening. It is just Anyways, we got this 3869 and 3868. This whole big patch right here, we're going to have to watch very carefully because that's where our X flare just came out of. It's a very close configuration right here and on this one. And in fact, you know what? You guys are not seeing this close enough. Let me get it up in your face. Do you see how close these red and blues are? There's red and blue right here. There's red and blue right here. This 3868 has a close configuration too. So 68 and 69, watch out. And we got this other patch over here, which would probably be 70. So you want to see the Halloween pumpkin face in the sun? I'll show you one. Here, watch this. That'll spook you. We'll do that in the spiritual report. We got to finish up the solar report. Also, we have 3863 here. This configuration right here, very intense on this polarity, not so much on that one, but still close configuration. We'll have to watch that one as well. I usually post that Halloween face one on Halloween, but we'll go visit it tonight. So let's slide and dip, and you can see here's your goes X-ray flux. We just did a long duration X flare. We're still coming down out of it. It's still in progress. We're currently at M2.5 level right now. Okay, but it's coming back down out of this X 3.33, slowly descending out of it. Long duration X flare. So let me zoom back out. So X flare potential 10%. That should be way up to 90% because we just had one. But that'll probably climb here pretty soon, especially with our new sunspots rounding the edge right there. Meanwhile, M flare potential 60%. No proton event, thank God. Our 3-day geomagnetic forecast all clear for right now, but seeing as how this happened, well, it's more into the 24th now, so we wouldn't see anything until the 27th. So far, the next 3 days should be good, but we'll probably have something heading our, well, that kind of came off the limb. I don't know if this would be heading our way. Anyways, here you are, your X3.3 Type 2 radio blackout. We got our 69 is beta gamma, 68 still alpha, but that'll be changing soon probably. You're unsettled right now. Your KP is up at 3 right now. We just had this little jumble mess here, and we're at 3. But as you can see, let me pop these open. Hopefully you see this little hint of yellow right in there. Not so much on this one, but there's a little hint of yellow in there. So I imagine our next little line might be a little bit higher, KP 4 or 5 maybe even a little bit higher. Hopefully this doesn't, increase. I don't want to see any more geomagnetic activity. So here we go. X flare. A returning sunspot region now reassigned as AR 3869 just produced a strong X 3.3 solar flare at 357 UTC. A type 2 radio emission with an estimated velocity of 610 kilometers per second was recorded. This event will be associated with the coronal mass ejection, a CME, based on the dimming following the event. All right, because the flare location is located off the east limb, it will be directed mostly away from Earth. So good. It's coming off the east limb right here, heading away from us. Even though, check this out, we can still see the light from it. So we will be getting a glancing blow because you see how it kind of glitched out the camera. See the speckling in the camera? So energy from this did come this way. We will get just a little edge of it, probably the very, very slight edge of it, I think, especially when I see this picture now. Let's even play this. So that was the little image I was going to take you to here in just a sec. First, let's open our tracker and see if they're tracking this thing yet. Do some track-a-lacking since we're lacking some tracking. And there it is right there, kind of heading this direction. Doesn't seem to be even coming close to clipping the planet. Kind of heading almost not even off 90 degrees, almost kind of heading a little bit backward. So hopefully that's the case and we get this heading away. Hopefully the object causing it isn't traveling past us. Let me get on with... Is this going to show this latest impact? Because it should be around the 27th. Nah, this is just plasma density. Never mind. I don't think that one's going to show it. But what I wanted to do was back out of this. And we have this right here going into tomorrow. Would you like to take a little look at our event right here? No? Really? Come on. We just had it happen and it's right here. Let me refresh to see if we can get every frame. And we're going to do it anyway, whether you like it or not. And here we go. Boom. Let me just... All right. I'm sorry about your reception there. All right, here we go with our plasma, our X3.3 event coming out right here. This round structure right here almost looks like a damage ring starting to spread out over something bigger there. Note we're at 4 o'clock here. Our next frame is 5:48. So most of the event is already kind of out of frame, and you can see the scattering of smaller little moons and satellites that were trailing behind it, all scattered out and stuff. And look at this splay, how it's looks like it's coming our way. See how this goes this direction, right? But then next frame, boom, all this is coming out down here. So we might still be getting something a little bit coming our way here. All right. So, yeah. Did you hear about the moon getting a magnetic field now? Something moving around inside the moon. And now it's starting to produce a magnetic anomaly. Thank you for mentioning something about the moon in the chat there. Who was that? Solrak. Well, thank you. Thank you for being here, Harley, Jimmy, Hopkinson, Michelle, John Wine. Okay. All right. Cool. Cool family. All right. Let's keep going. So that right there, that big spread is right after our event. So X flare, and then let me just pause that again because it's a jump in data. So 348, you see it kind of clearing the Coulter right here. 400 right there, 4 o'clock. And then 548. Now it's all scattered all the way around and stuff like that. So it might become a halo type event because of all these other trailing little satellites. You see these big divots in the red part? That's where they're hiding, in those divots too. So there's probably one in there, one right going out of frame right here. You can see them kind of scattered around. And you can come over to this instrument too and play with it a little bit and see. But yeah, our X 3.3 that shows it going away might just change because of some of the trailing little moons right there. All right, glad we came over here and took a peek, aren't you? All right, so back to our solar ham. No absorption event going on right now, which is good. All right, we covered all that. Let me get over here to spaceweather.com. Here's your X-class solar flare again. But the large sunspots are turning towards Earth. An impressive group of large sunspots is emerging over the sun's southeastern limb. The group's detailed magnetic configuration is not yet known. However, we know it's explosive. A powerful 3.3 X-class solar flare just exploded from the sunspot group's magnetic canopy. Okay, this X-class solar flare emerging from sunspot 3869 erupted this morning on October 24th at 3:57 UTC, producing a slow X3.3 class solar flare. NASA Solar Dynamics recorded an hour-long flash. An hour-long flash. It wasn't just like a bzzz. That was a major arc, something big connected with the sun right there for an hour. All right, extreme ultraviolet radiation from the flare ionized the top of Earth's atmosphere. This, in turn, caused a shortwave radio blackout over Australia and the Southeast Asia. Ham radio operators have noticed loss of signal at frequencies below 30 megahertz. This explosion almost certainly produced a CME. The U.S. Air Force is reporting a Type 2 solar radio burst, a natural signal that comes from the shock wave at the leading edge of the CME. Okay, so the U.S. Air Force is reporting a Type 2 solar radio burst. Characteristics of the burst suggest a CME traveling at 1.3 million miles an hour. Okay, you can come on over and learn about how they're going to use a new tool to look at the sun here, and boy, does it kind of filter out some of the stuff. So I probably won't be using that one much. Anyways, let me get on to our Schumann resonance. Didn't have that one pulled up, but let's pull it up anyway. So after this bumpy day the other day here, we had some good continuity here yesterday, and even today, not so bad. We had a little spike right there and then a little dip afterwards, but all in all, it's been pretty smooth. after this latest, wave of pressure, and then the release, and then build up and release again. So we did see a little bumpiness a few days ago, but all in all, in the clear right now. So let's move on. Whoops, there it is over here to the null school, where I want to point out. Here's the equator, this line down here. This is where the air from the north and the south converge together and head back down. Well, now we have air from the southern hemisphere coming up to this latitude. Our intertropical convergence zone that should be here at the equator has shifted 15 degrees north. Even on this side of the planet over here, you can see it coming up from here, past the equator. Even over on this side of the planet, you can see, here's the equator, we got air coming up to this latitude, and then vortexes pull it up even higher. And as you can see right here, we have quite a little vortex going off of the coast of India here, which takes a lot of this gas, this SO2 gas, rotates it back into this country, pushes it up against the Himalayas, and it won't cross over. And I'll show you that on the SO2 report. Meanwhile, look at this. We got a storm that's using the island as its eye. This storm is literally swirling around the northern tip of the island right there. And look how stuff is flowing right around Taiwan as well. Okay, some other ones I want to point out. This guy over here, I don't know if you'll see this face, but there's very intense storm right there with an eye in it. Another eye over here that's kind of dull and dead. Hawaii for your nose, and this little smirk. You can also see we have another vortex growing out here because of our intertropical convergence zone, contributing to that activity right there. And then vortex is going on around here as well. What we're going to do now is take you up to a little higher. That was the surface. There's your storms now. Okay, that's very organized, tight little hurricane right there. Very organized storm right here going on. This one up here getting pretty powerful as well. All right, now come on over here and do our sandstorm report. Want particulates, the dust extinction aerosol. What a wonderful name. All right, there is your sandstorm. This is your particulates being blown out across the Atlantic, curling back a little bit, getting caught up in this, but a big, healthy plume stretching all the way across most of the Atlantic there. And then it's, spreading out up here too, which is good. We could use some more of that getting up into this region as well. Kind of helps hinder the cloud top heights, keeping hurricane genesis down, limiting the production. Now, over here on this side of the country, you can see, or this side of the globe, you can see our sand is spread out. Not so intense anymore, where we have the two eyes and the gnarly face. But there's something different going on in there. I'm looking at a different spot now. That's what it is. And eventually in time, you'll see it come. But still, that area in hot water, a lot of trouble going on. They got a lot of sand. Meanwhile, all of that blowing across the ocean. Oh, we have a new person. Risk 603. Welcome. Yeah, that's a lot of sand. And just so you know, this sand actually hinders the production, or keeps your hurricane genesis, the cloud tops down, so the hurricanes don't get so strong. It diminishes hurricane production in this alley right there. And that's what's been keeping us safe for a while, is the sandstorm cutting down those thunderheads. Okay, so now what we're going to do is going to come over here and we're going to do our SO2 report. All right, now this is sulfur dioxide, not carbon dioxide. Sulfur dioxide is like vaporized magma. It's so hot when it comes out of the ground. It comes out of the ground thousands of degrees. Okay, so it's sulfur dioxide, SO2. And as you can see, we have a divided country here. We got the one side bleeding out profusely, and you can see why it's bleeding profusely. Isn't our society bleeding profusely on this part of this country? Meanwhile, over here on this is more mountainous, rugged granite type structure terrain crust with perforations, volcanic perforations where you see it. And there's your country divided. All right, we're going to do a fire report. Let me add our fires on there. We don't have to be divided. We don't even have to follow this whole procedure, this whole game. It's a game being played. All right, so earlier this year we had fires up in Canada that were produced by this SO2 emissions. Usually these dark plumes like this are the ones where you see fires mainly, but you can see a couple up here and around this region that are starting to fire up because of SO2 emissions. All right, now the gas itself isn't flammable, but it comes out of the ground so hot that it causes any kind of vegetation in the air around the emission site to spontaneously combust and turn into a wildfire. And we had a big outbreak of wildfires in Idaho and in Wyoming and in Oregon here, but they seem to have kind of tampered down a little bit. Some of these fires are kind of quelling now. The activity had crept all the way down to Southern California and into Mexico. It was creeping all the way east over here and stuff. But all that activity has receded. This is not countable because there's factories and all kinds of other industries that could produce a heat signature like that. Now, I want to take the fires off, and we're going to do a little globe trotting here. Okay, you can see Canada has all its SO2 emissions. We go down through the states. Here's Mexico. These regions have kind of lightened up now. The other day they were a little darker purple, so we have seen a little reduction in coloration and the darkness, the intensity of it. But you can see Cuba has it, Jamaica, Dominican Republic. All of these islands right here are spewing SO2. They're all volcanic islands, and every time we get a wave of pressure from down below, more SO2 squirts out of volcanic sites. And you can see we have perforations in the crust all through northern part of South America, all along the west coast of South America. Okay, and then we come into this spot right here. This is our fulcrum point on the plate boundary. It has a weak spot, and there's your weak spot right there on land, and it emits a lot of SO2. This is like one of our gauges. I come over and check this every once in a while, and the surrounding spots next to it. This one's usually nice and organized and strong, meaning we've got decent pressure down below. This one was a lot darker and a little bigger the other night. It has receded, meaning a little less pressure now. Okay, so we have seen a reduction of pressure. Not much, but some. So as we continue on down, you can see that these stronger emission sites along the coast here are letting this gas go out into the sea or go out across the ocean there, leaving an SO2 plume. All right, and there's your SO2 plume from your activity. This relieves pressure along this plate boundary system, keeping your earthquake magnitudes down in this region. From all the activity that we have seen from the sun in the last 4 years, we have not seen a magnitude 8 or a big quake along this region. This is where the big ones happen, right here. And we haven't because we have all this SO2. These are like a little slow leak in a bicycle tube. Each little spot, let me just kind of bring in here because you'll see that each one of these is its own individual site. It's not a plume that's blowing down. So this is like 1,000 little pinholes in a bicycle tube. And even though you keep pumping pressure into the tube, well, it keeps bleeding out all these little perforations here. And that bleeding reduces the pressure, like I said, keeping magnitude levels down. We still see quakes on this region, but it keeps the magnitude level down. As we continue, let's get on out here to Hawaii. Take a little peek here. Ooh, this area, we have a little stronger emissions coming out of Oahu now. The nice little plume coming behind. Same with Hawaii. Hawaii has this little tail, this little plume coming off, and now we're getting activity out of Maui and the other islands, Molokai here too, in that region at least. Okay, and the Pacific Rim, being like the rim of a bicycle, well, the rim has a hub right in the center where all the spokes come together. Well, you get pressure all along the edge. Pressure has to be relieved in the middle too as well. So, all right, there's that. And now we're going to come on over here to China, adjust for their time zone. Okay, same with China, very dark. Look at some of these ribbons now. These are turning into, instead of just a patch or a small dot, it's these big, long ribbon type structures that are starting to grow. See what I'm saying? So China is in hot water. They are in deep trouble. This land is so porous and so spongy that just SO2 bleeds right through the ground because it's so porous. Meanwhile, over here, this used to be an old ocean or old sea, or this is like the lake area, sorry. But this area is so dense, the rock in the crust is so dense right here that you don't see any SO2 coming out. So when it can't be relieved here, well, it goes to the next nearest spot of least resistance, which is all this spongy area out here. Now, every time gas comes out, it knocks loose little granules on its little pathway up, little stairway path from down below up to the surface. Every time it starts knocking little particles loose, and then it rains and it floods, and water goes down into those pathways, eroding them, making them bigger and bigger and bigger. And more gas comes out, more water seeps in, more gas comes out. It just starts eroding away those little pathways, and pretty soon you get this effect here where it's just bleeding out SO2. And let me just kind of give you a quick little glimpse of this color chart. All right, this is low emissions, your medium, medium to high, and then high is purple and black. All right, it does go to black on this little chart right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take you in here really quick. See, these regions are black. They're not purple, they're black. Can I have my mouse back, Lord, please? Oh, I'm trying to drag the screen or scroll back, but we're jammed up for a second here. What happened here? There it goes. All right. Black in that region. These regions are black as well, and they're getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Okay, and every time we get another round of pressure, from down below, the sun kicks out a CME, we absorb it, it goes down to the core swells, the magma swells, pushes more CO2 out of the ground. Here's that storm circling up, taking a lot of this gas and throwing it back up here. You can see the Himalayas here don't allow the gas to cross this region, and it has no emission sites. So this region is like one of the clearest regions on the planet right there as far as the SO2. Over here, this region filling in now. Turkey, Iran, Iraq, this whole area is starting to bleed out, as well as Saudi Arabia. And it's all because, well, we got some issues. And you can see Europe is not free of this problem. They got their SO2 emission sites too. You see all these spots up here. And years ago, there was like 4 little spots, and it was BP Earthwatch, I think, brought it to light that there were 4 little dots along the Sierra crest, and everybody took notice. Well, now there's millions of spots all around the planet, and nobody seems to care or notice except here. All right, and these guys are in hot water. They're in big trouble. They messed with the wrong deity. They've been praying to the wrong god this whole time. Same with these guys. Same with these guys. What if we come over here and we see a nation divided? Gee, do you think maybe half of this problem, the problem of this country is this half over here? And they chose the wrong deity too. And it shows. This is spiritual warfare going on, and you can see it on display on the earth. The earth is bleeding out SO2. All right, now let me get over here to our ocean stuff now. And let's go now. How about now? Now. Not then, but now. All right, let's just dive in right here. We had this region of yellow that came in here, was reaching into this, into the fulcrum point of Taiwan. Look how that's all gone, and we got this little dark spot, meaning cooler water. Okay, so we must have had a quake or some kind of relief in this area because we had a little yellow finger reaching in there. Okay, now these are hot water anomalies on the surface. What's going on here? This is Tamumasi, the biggest volcano on the planet. It's underwater, and there's a bunch of seamounts around it. Now, when these seamounts say they're spewing out hot water, well, the hot water rises in a column all the way up to the surface, and when it hits the surface tension at the surface, it spreads out like a big plume. And these plumes of hot water are indicators of vents that are open up on the ocean floor down below. Those vents react to pressure. When there's more pressure, those vents spew out more heat. All right, and our plumes grow and they change in size and shape. We get cold water plumes that invade other, in between. And then you get vortex activity with hot air building up over hot water, cooler air over cooler water. Well, hot air rises, cold air rushes in to replace it, and you get vortex activity. Now we're going to get to that in a minute, but let me just dive in really quick here to our Juan de Fuca area here. We had some quakes the other day that relieved some pressure, so we still have cold water inundation on this side of the Juan de Fuca, but just below it, we have this new patch off the not new, but about a week old or so now, this patch here off the Northern California coast here. Okay, so this is pressure down below. This is a new spot that's opened up, relieving pressure right there. And this should all be cold water right along there, but it's not. You can see this one hot spot. You can clearly see this anomaly is because of something volcanic. This should all be cold water. Why is this one spot super hot when everything else around is cold? Because there's a vent on the ocean floor. The sunspots and suicides, yep, they correlate. I'll show you how. Now, as we get down here, we still have this plume just off of the Bay Area, south of the Bay, that's growing there, but we got cold water the rest of the way down. We had this plume that had grown in yellow down by LA, and it's reduced in coloration, and we had other activity out here start to blossom, which I think robs some of the pressure. You got a path of least resistance here, so you get a transfer of pressure over there, so it can alleviate the pressure, and it reduced the pressure that was underneath LA and that whole area. Meanwhile, we got this triangle type structure. It is actually reduced in color. There's still some yellow, but this whole triangle was starting to fill in yellow, and now it's reduced a little bit. Okay, you guys that are here, you can see the little bit of reduction every once when you're here all the time. Or if I report all the time. Well, I can help you understand why that happens. And we'll get to that here in a minute, too. So, where am I going, Lord? Oh, we're going to go around the world here. You can see some of these plumes off the North Atlantic up here. There were some pictures taken of the North Atlantic, a flight flying over the North Atlantic, and the water and the clouds down below were all different colors. I'll try to find that for you, too. And it's all because we got these heat and cold water anomalies. This little plume off of Africa, you can see down below here, Southern Hemisphere has this issue. We have this little seam that's opened up right around here. A couple of sites possibly right there. We come in here to Java. This has been our relief valve for quite a while. Well, not anymore. It's building in intensity out here off the coast of Java. So I expect to see increased activity at the volcanoes there and SO2 emissions in that area. In fact, we did not do SO2 on that area, did we? There we go. The SO2 emissions from Java. Okay, this is why I call this island a relief valve, because it has a lot darker coloration. More SO2 comes out of here. There's a plate boundary that runs right along here, and volcanoes that are constantly going off on this island. So there's your SO2. While we're here, I just need to point out this little island right here for later reference in our earthquake report. Here's our deep region here at Fiji. It's also having SO2 emissions. And then our plate boundary system comes in and starts going through here. And this is like one of the first volcanic islands that relieves pressure in that plate boundary system. So take note of the two little SO2 emissions there, because we will be coming back to that later on in our earthquake report. Now back to the water. All right, so here at Java, we see a lot of SO2 coming out of the ground, but it's not enough. We're starting to see hot water building up in these bays back here. You see this island right here that's got yellow underneath it. Watch out for volcanic activity going on around that place pretty soon. We had these island chain going up through here off of Sumatra, but that activity has died down. Now it's more out here. We have a central spot out here that's obviously opened up, a little plume there. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the winds on, and I want you to see something. I want you to see how these winds correlate with your hot water, cold water plume. Remember, I told you hot air rises, cold air rushes in to replace it. So you see vortexes created by hot air, cold air interactions that are reacting to the temperature of the water temperatures on the surface. Okay, and we were getting this conveyor belt where it would come across, go up, go across, come back down, and we have this structure set up here where, excuse me, we had this flow that was coming here and then going down the coast and back out, and it was keeping storms from going into the west coast. If we look here, just like that, you can see we still have this activity, runs down the coast and comes out. We have this big storm brewing out here, but look what's in between it. It's going to try to address this, but then get pulled down south. So we'll see what happens with this storm, but it's being produced by this cold, hot pattern out here. All right, and lately we've had this hedge of protection over this whole region right here. Weather's had to either go up and then come down, but it had to go, north of America, and then, we would interact with it. You can also see that our conveyor belt structures from the Atlantic going around this big centralized hotspot, coming out, going around, pulling sand, hampering the hurricane production. It does get pulled up into this hot region now. We have a tighter circulation, so our conveyor belt doesn't reach all the way out. It's a little tighter. It's taking this storm and keeping it out in the Atlantic. Meanwhile, we do still have some flow that comes up through the country, collides with cold air. This warm, moist air coming up off the Gulf, going up through the central part of the country, colliding with this cold air coming down from Alaska, Canada, right here where they converge is where you're going to see your severe weather. So your tornado alley has shifted north because, we got hotter water and the cooler airs up here. So now you're seeing your tornado alley and your severe weather happening a little further north up here in Canada and on the northern tier of America out there. And it's because of this convergence or this convergence coming in from further north and then this straight up pattern right there. All right. Also, we had our La Nina that was, well underway, pretty defined with all its little arches and all its little waves. Well, this hot spot opened up out here and destroyed half of the La Nina effect. You can see it struggling to come back, but this little hot plume right here is still messing things up. Okay, so there's your conveyor belt structures there. Let me just kind of put it right there. I think should work good. All right, rotation around this, pulling sand, pulling storms across here. We have hot water, thankfully for our sandstorms. Because the moment that sandstorm diminishes or we get a little break in it, anything could fire up in this region. We do have this, our intertropical convergence zone is shifted north, right? So now it's inducing rotation, cyclonic rotation, because it's shifted up to this area where we have our genesis. So we are in a very, very tight situation where these things could be blossoming at any moment. And if it wasn't for this sandstorm, oh my goodness. If it wasn't for that hampering the hurricane genesis, we would be in some hot water right now. Okay. All right. So let me just finish off with that. Sorry, I'm bouncing all over the place tonight. I'm a little bit of a mood. Trying to get over it though. Also, you can see this cold water patch growing right there. So we have a hot water patch, a little cold growing there again. Whew. Hey, Queensryche. I could tell you about the code and music, but you probably wouldn't believe me. Alrighty then. So there's that. Now let's get on to our earthquake report. And I need to open up. Yep, Empire is a good one. Where am I going to again? Oh, yeah. Welcome to our family. Hang around for a minute so you know what we do here. Oh, yay, we got it on the wrong one. Look at this little plaything. It's got the moon with an eye in it. Do you see this little hidden eye over here? And then this little eye on the Google Play thing. Funny, my avatar's a moon with two eyes. And cool. We just lost that one up. I'll take this back. Thank you. Sorry about that. We're having a few little technical difficulties, but we'll get over it in just a second here. Oh, look at this. Red spot right on our fulcrum point as we speak. We better get this sucker open and going. I guess I'm glad I did a show tonight after all. Okay, starting off in our deep quake region, we will get to the latest quake in just a moment. Our deep quake region, 4.3 down at 45, 4.9 down at 213. 213 is not a deep quake. That's volcanic or activity on a volcanic feature. I want this one right here, 5.1 at the surface. So we got mid-range 4 and 5 at the surface, a little bit stronger. Okay, coming over to this plate boundary, nothing along there. Wait. Remember this little island right here that spews SO2? All right, SO2, the leak in the tube right there is eliminating the pressure. We're relieving earthquake activity along this plate boundary. We haven't seen much activity. We got volcano activity along there now. Stick with me, Risk 603. I'll teach you how to write masterpieces, baby. Every single song you write will be a masterpiece. Coming on over here. Here's Java. Remember the island, the purple island of Java we were looking at with all its SO2 emissions? Well, it's not enough. We're having quake activity here too. 4.4 down at 78 is on the flank. This whole thing is one long volcano. This whole island is like one long volcanic chain. Bing, bing, boom, 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 boom. See them all? They just run in a line. Boom, 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 boom. And since this is a volcanic ridge, this would be the flank of that volcanic ridge. We are having earthquake activity on the flank of a volcano down at 78. Okay? To show you what the sun really does too. A lot of people got a misconception of how the sun works. It's a thermonuclear explosion with no oxygen. Believe that one, okay? 4.7 down at 108 on this little volcanic ridge right here. Okay, we all know, especially down at 108, that's earthquake activity at a volcanic site. Relieving pressure. All right, now we'll come over to that side in a second. Just real quick, no fulcrum point, but in that lake region where there's no SO2 emissions, we have our 4.0 down at 10, scrubbing the energy at the surface. Meanwhile, up here by the Gobi Desert, which used to be an old seabed, it's really dense and compacted from the water being on top of it for so many years. So no SO2 emissions out of that region, and it's really densely packed. But on the very edge of it, we get these earthquakes now. These 4.0s, mid-range 4s on the edge of the Gobi Desert right there. Also, screwing around over here in Iran, 4.8 at the surface. Yeah, keep screwing around and see what happens. You guys, all right, come on over here to our big quake. If we can, a 6.2 down at 48.6. If it's usually not at a depth of 10 and it's down at a 40 to 100, it's usually on the volcanic ridge. Here's our volcanic ridge, or volcanic site I meant. Here's our volcanic ridge. On the flank of it is your 6.2. Now, we haven't had a good quake in this region in quite a while, let alone a fulcrum point quake in quite a while. So, come on, USGS. So there's no fulcrum point quake, but that took out a lot of energy right there. We have volcanoes going off on this island as well, so. I love you guys' chat. You guys are awesome. All right. Before we get into this, I'm going to switch over to America all magnitudes because coming into these volcanic islands, we have microquaking going on at some of them. 3 right there at 189. That's on the flank of this volcanic ridge. Right on the ridge, this one, a 4.8 down at 25. There you go, slow down a little bit. 4.8 down at 25. We just had a magnitude 5 coming in on this plate boundary. Well, not the plate boundary, but on the ridge just next to it. Our fulcrum point quakes, a bunch of little microquakes, multiple fulcrum points here. Okay, you see the red line barely going up through here? That's your plate boundary. There's the fulcrum point for the plate boundary. There's one on the ocean floor right here, you can see. There's another fulcrum point in the bay, the mountains behind the bay, the valley and the mountains behind that, the valley with another mountain ridge behind that, and another back behind it. So there are multiple fulcrum points all in a row. It's like a snowplow effect. When you push something like this, waves build up in front of it. Now, coming into our Juan de Fuca area, and oh boy, do we have a quake swarm going on at the fulcrum point. Just real quick, these are microquakes. Okay, good. Oh, this is awesome, you guys. This is what we need right here. 4.1 at the surface. 2.9 there. Give me this red one, please, Lord. 4.4 right there with a little tsunami alert at the surface, and 1.5. You see all these little quakes right here on land at our fulcrum point on the Juan de Fuca right here. So it didn't hit right here, but energy pushes inland, pushes in this plate boundary. Sometimes it doesn't want to make the corner, so it comes inland and drops a quake off there. But here we have this right here. This is an ongoing quake swarm at our fulcrum point at the Juan de Fuca, which will be relieving a lot of stress in that region right now. And it's good that it's doing this instead of a big 9.0 out there. Let me just tell you right now, this is much more preferable than a big quake on a fulcrum point out here or a major slip right along there. Okay, which would cause a huge tsunami. This is actually on land too. It's not out in the water where it could trigger a tsunami. It's more inland. So, I mean, it can still shake the water a little bit, but it's better that the actual epicenters are on land and not underwater. So, ongoing quake swarm at Crescent City here, our fulcrum point for the Juan de Fuca. Meanwhile, we come down, we see the geysers here, micro-quaking out, relieving pressure in that area. We come down the San Andreas, really quiet, but these inward fault lines, like the Hayward Fault, some of these faults in here, 1.5 here, just micro-quaking out, which is good. We need to relieve pressure in that region, and it's much better at these kind of magnitudes than one quake that's a 6.5 that causes damage, or what it's, or even stronger. Current one out in Hawthorne, 1.9. Hang on. Hang on. Let me just make sure this is at the site. Okay, good. It's not at the site. Okay, little quake activity out in the desert out there. There's some military sites out here that are just wondering, make sure they're not doing something. All right, we have this teardrop-looking acorn-like structure right here, and this is where the pressure had built up underneath this bubble right here before on the temperature map here. Right in this little bay right here, at one point we were seeing yellow, and that's a lot of pressure, and we were seeing a lot of quakes, bigger magnitudes in that region, falling right along this boundary of this. It comes right up to the plate boundary, runs the plate boundary all the way down, and then comes back across right through here. And that whole region was seeing SO2 emissions and higher quakes and magnitudes and quake swarms until that pressure change kind of relieved pressure in the area. Now we're just seeing a bunch of little small quakes, 1.7s, 1.8s. That's awesome. We could see tons of these right here, and it would help relieve the pressure so we don't see a bigger magnitude. Meanwhile, out here, whoops, what was this up here? A little micro quaking going on at some. There's Yellowstone Lake. All right. Not too bad. Not too bad. Now, man-made perforations in the crust. Okay, we all know what's going on out here. Man-made perforations in the crust. 1.2 magnitude, that's good. It's down from 3 and 5. We were seeing magnitude 5s out there in Texas. Every time we get around pressure from the sun, it increases the earthquake magnitude in Texas. Nothing along your New Madrid right here in the fulcrum point, but as we go up the craton, here we are again at this weak spot by New Jersey. We've had this spot pop up every once in a while, 1.1 and a 1.5 right there. Not much, just a couple of small quakes, but this little spot has opened up and become a new path of least resistance. Okay, so every time we get a little round of pressure, sometimes we have quakes in this vicinity. Imagine if we got a big round of pressure from the sun and it caused some strong magnitude earthquakes in that region at that weak spot. That's right next to that long island right there. Potential to do a lot of damage, but right now, nice microquaking relieves pressure in the area. We want to see that little microquaking rather than one big one. Quick magnitude check. Yep, mid-range 3. That's normal. Little fulcrum point quake, 2.4 there. Another fulcrum point quake, 4.4. Couple of... There's a few of them here. 1, 2, 3 mid-range 4s. This mid-range 4. These mid-range 4s down here. That mid-range 4. All this mid-range 4 activity right here keeps them from having a magnitude 10. Because with all the pressure and activity we've had from the sun, we could, one of these days, if we don't have the pressure relief, we could see something huge. Just a little quick check right here. Plate boundary. 5.7 on the mid-Indian Ridge. So there's a little uptick in pressure here. A little uptick in magnitude. We usually see 5s, a little smaller. So that's a little uptick in magnitude there. We did see our 6 right here. So we've seen an uptick in magnitude. We got a 5 that just went off right there. Okay, so watch out. We got a new round of energy that's come in, and we're currently having magnitude 5 there. We could see up to a magnitude 5 here as well. 4.1, 4.4 was the highest. And 2.8. All right, so your 4.4 would be your 5 energy. With all these other ones around, it kind of equals out to your, your magnitude 5 pressure that just caused this 5 over here. Right there. Watch out for this region. It's really quiet. They could possibly see a mid-range 4 to a 5 right through there. All right. Now let's get on to our volcano reports, because we got more pressure coming up from down below causes volcano activity. And as you look here, we have 36 erupting and 33 in warning. The 33 in warning are still active, okay? They are semi-active. They're not full eruption, but they are venting SO2. They're having small eruptions, earthquake activity, so they are active. So we take our active and are currently erupting. 36 and 33 is 69 active volcanoes. If I'd have told you 7 years ago when all this stuff started happening to me that 7 years from now we'd have 69 volcanoes, you would have said, you're out of your mind, you're crazy. Well, here we are, 7 years later, we got 69 volcanoes, and I am still crazy about you. Let's do this. Oh, here's all your different Icelandic, every time magma built up, and then we had an eruption. Pressure, this was an event from the sun where pressure built up, and we had our eruption, then it went down. It relieved the pressure in the area. Then we had another thing from the sun, built up pressure, had an eruption, the pressure went down. Look how pressure goes up, down, up, down, up, down. These are all different events that all kind of correlate with our sun activity. Okay, now I want to get down to Svarensky. The groundswell and magma accumulation beneath Svarensky is progressing at a steady rate. Seismic activity has shown a slight uptick. IBU at 7,000 feet. Luatobi, 8,000 foot blast today. Semeru, 14,000 foot blast. That's on the island of Java. Okay, so your island is Java, the relief valve, 14,000 foot blast every day. Every day this thing's got either 14 or 15,000 foot blast out of it. Don't hear about that on your news every day, do you? And they're telling you every day this thing's going off, basically, and all these are. Meanwhile, back at Ducono, 9,000. That one's a little higher than normal. Popocatépetl, 24,000. Whoa. This is by Mexico City. Okay, they just saw a 24,000 foot plume come out of the mountain that sits next to their city. How would you like to have that in your city? Meanwhile, Fuego, 15,000. Nevada del Ruiz in Colombia going off again. Songay, 20,000 feet. And that was just in the last few minutes. Let me remind you, that was just in the last few minutes. Because here's today, the 23rd. That was 41 minutes of the 24th. Okay, so in 41 minutes, we did all that great stuff. Now, let's get into today, which is now yesterday, because, well, time flies at this channel. Here's the map of insanity. Come on over and look at the map of insanity, but don't get desensitized to it, because you'll begin to think that this is normal behavior, normal activity. We have up in the Kamchatka Peninsula up there, we have active volcanoes Shivaluz, Kluchevskoy, Bizimani, Karaminsky, Adelaide, and Ebico. That's a lot of active volcanoes just in that tight little pack right there. And that's where we saw our 6.0 earthquake as well. Volcano activity all through that plate boundary system. Remember, I showed you the island that's leaking SO2. We don't see much quake activity in this region because we have active volcanoes in there. Look at over here at Java. All these are in red. We got Marapi, Krakatau, Rayung, Semru, Dempo, Barren Island, Karinsky. There's just all these. It's nuts. And don't forget, down here on Antarctica, it's not free of this activity. Here's Erebus currently erupting. All right, back to IBU, 6,000 feet yesterday. Now it was 7,000 feet just a few minutes ago. Luatobi, 8,000. Semeru, probably 14 or 15. Ducono, 9,000. Popocatépetl, 21,000. So Popocatépetl had two blasts. One today at 21,000 feet and one just a moment ago at 24,000. So that's an uptick in height. That means there's more pressure down below blowing those columns higher. Either that or it came out through a tighter vent, smaller vent, and had a better escape velocity. But usually that's an indication of stronger pressure when you see a jump from 21 to 24 at the same volcano within a day. Santa Guido, 14,000 feet. Extrusive explosive eruption at the volcano continues. Fuego, 15,000 feet. Nevada del Ruiz, 21,000. Songay, 21,000. Reventador, still no thing. Okay, here are your lists of insanity. 7 years ago, there was one active volcano, and that was in Hawaii, and it was just bubbling little lava pool. These are, I repeat, currently erupting. These are eruptive and warning. Their activity, that's minor, don't let that fool you. Warning, they're active. All right? So any one of these could hop it over to fully erupting at any moment. As soon, especially when we have stuff coming off the sun. So all of these currently erupting: Barren Island, Bizimani, Ducona. I can't even read them all. I'm just going to kind of scroll slowly. This would freak out the mainstream media. All right, any kind of news anchor that would have to report this would probably lose his marbles trying to tell you, oh, there's 69 volcanoes. Yeah, craziness. All right, now, each one of these volcano eruptions, say a 21,000 foot blast, 15,000 foot blast. Let's get us a little picture of a little blast. Oh, no, we don't have any. All right. For instance, 21,000 foot blast. Where'd it go? Right there. Puts a lot of ash high up in the air. Okay, up to 21,000 feet. Ash is a particulate, and water likes to adhere to a particulate in order to make a raindrop. Okay, so our particulate count being much higher because of this activity that's just been going on and on and on. This has been going on for a while now. This is daily. 14,000, 21,000, 24,000 is daily. So all those particulates going up in the atmosphere. Then we have all this hot water being evaporated into water vapor into the air. So now you got this adding more water to your air. You got more ash particulates, more particulates for more water to adhere to. So now you have just upped the capacity for the air to hold water. It used to hold, 10%, let's just say. Now we're at like 60 or 70%. It's not that much, but it's a ratio like that. Hot water puts more vapor in the air. Volcanic ash puts more particulates in the air. And then that causes crazy weather. So let's get to our crazy weather, shall we? Our tropical tidbits. Get rid of those ones that take up too much. Where is... There it is, forecast models. Not only do you have more fuel for the fire as far as particulates, water content, you also have the spiritual realm that has control of the weather as well. Okay, I've seen lots of man-made things like fighting back against it. So you do see man-made weather manipulation, but they're not the ones sending horrific storms to demolish their own sites. Okay, something else is controlling them. All right, so meanwhile, we don't have any geomagnetic enhancement from the sun, so that can also enhance your weather as well. We're current conditions, nighttime of the 23rd right now. Let's go morning of the 24th, noon, convection, nighttime. Okay, you saw how these two air masses collided right here. Warm air, remember I was showing you warm air coming up? Here comes that cold air coming in. Watch it come in. Boom, see it starts to condense right here at convection. This is 5 p.m. Pacific, so that'll be 7 p.m. there. So that's when the sun's going down. Then at nighttime, you're getting severe weather activity at nighttime around Ohio right there. Or Iowa, sorry. Iowa, Missouri. Then we go into the morning of the 25th. And even though this doesn't show severe weather in it, the potential for heavy rains. This doesn't look like much. It can flash flood people and catch them off guard. That's the morning of the 25th. Noon, convection, nighttime. Morning of the 26th. You see this sneaking in here, snow and rain on the Pacific Northwest. Noon, convection, nighttime, morning of the 27th. Noon, convection, nighttime, morning of the 28th. Noon, convection, nighttime. All right, anything after this is kind of subject to change because we don't have, data. Nothing's happened on the sun. It takes about 3 days for it to get to us. So anything after 3 days is really kind of just subject to change. Meanwhile, you see all these tight millibars gathering here. Another cold air mass right back here, okay? All this moist, warm air right here. See it coming together, these tight millibars. There's the noontime of the 29th, convection, nighttime, morning of the 30th. We have a huge icing event way up here in Canada, so I'd watch you people up in this region. I'd watch out. That could be a pretty serious event right there. But that's all subject to change. That's the morning of the 30th, noontime, convection or afternoon. There's the evening of the 30th. Now, the other day they were showing a quasi-linear storm front more vertical than this. Now it's going kind of horizontal. This quasi-linear storm front right here that can cause spin-ups, quick little storms or tornadoes and that. Morning of the 31st, still there. Noon, convection, nighttime. Snow coming into the west coast there. Morning of the 1st, noon, convection nighttime, morning of the 2nd. See how all this moist air is rotated up to here? Cold air has gotten down underneath it, moist air coming up over the top of it. Boom, boom, boom. Severe weather in Montana right there. Now that's way out there by November 2nd. That's all subject to change. But this is the kind of event that I'm talking about, where we have our cooler air up here, our warmer air driving up. And I showed you where they were converging on the other model. It was up at this zone right up here, wasn't it? And sure enough, there's where you're getting your severe weather there in Montana. And that's an example of what these storms can do. All right, not saying it's going to do that, but that's how they blossom. You see this low starting to form right here. You see these things starting to come together and pinch off. When you see this happen around the 1st, you'll know that, it's going to go severe here. Boom. Then that little well-organized, perfect comma-shaped storm starts moving out by convection of the 2nd. There's the nighttime, morning of the 3rd, noon. See the remnant tail back down here, can still fire up. Got more stuff coming in here. Convection, nighttime. The nighttime of November 3rd. This is even going into red now, so your probabilities have just doubled and tripled right here. So when we get around this time frame, we'll have to monitor it. But as you saw, it was the tail remnant of that low right there that starts driving up, gets the curl, drags out a big long tail. The remnants of the tail produce. Then we go to the noontime of the 4th, through convection of the 4th. Then look at this thing coming up to approach this tail. That's the nighttime of the 4th, morning of the 5th, noon, convection, nighttime. Turn out the lights, that party's over. Morning of the 6th, there would be just, no, not again for those people in that area. Last time, we saw something like this starting to emerge out of the models. Okay, this is way down the road. Okay, we're at November 6th. Gives you plenty of time to get ready for this. That would clean house. An event like that would knock out power, services. Oh, dude, let's pray that this doesn't happen. That is a very ugly image right there. At noontime, the 6th, convection. This is when your cloud tops are at their highest. The sun is boiling. The cloud tops getting very high, causing large hail, high winds, large tornadoes. That right there, if that configuration comes to fruition, we could see just what we saw with Helene, but maybe even worse. If you can imagine even worse, adding insult to injury in that region. I'm going to continue to monitor this the closer we get to this event. But you can see how this low digs in, has the tail effect, and then right after the tail effect starts to diminish, in comes hurricane effect. Now, look at all this heavy rain, severe weather in front of it. So things are already going to be flooded before it makes landfall. Then look at the flooding there that'll occur. All the way up the East Coast, too. All the major cities. There's ice in that icing event on the back side of that right there. So that'll be around November 6th, 7th. Jeez, how convenient. Hey, you might not want to be around that place on November 7th. Wow. Okay. All right. That was your astrophysics, your geophysics, weather, and that's a lot. So now we need to get on to your metaphysics because it's a lot to absorb, it's a lot to handle, and you guys need to take a break from that every once in a while. And we got just the thing for it.
I voted for Trump twice.
And it's not this guy. And it's not her either.
For 100 million Americans.
You cuss more.
Oh, come on. Enough with that. All right, there we go. I want to pause it right there. Get rid of their chat right there. How about there we go. All right. The video was taken by a gentleman. Bought a new camera because he'd been seeing this face out by the moon and he wanted to get a better shot of it. Well, there's a good shot of it right there. We'll be using one of those images to read to tonight, as well as, well, I guess we got some explaining to do. What we got here? We got a couple of newbies here. Should I go through here and do a little explaining first? You guys okay with that a little bit? For some of these new guys? I'll take you over here to my channel really quick because we're going to go back to Wake Up Call. All right. This event happened right before the Revelation 12 star alignment. It was foretold in the Bible. Showed up on my computer one day. And I'm like, what is going on here? So let me just give you a little bit of volume.
Boom. Starts to move away. See it cause a
Boom. Here's our object right here. Looks like Nibiru. It's got a wing coming off on this side and a wing coming off on that side. And that's not all, because behind that is this big object right here. This is what's causing our flares. Here's a conduit of plasma that is sucking off of our sun, going into this planet. Here's a damage ring or an impact zone on this planet right here. You can see Nibiru sticking out in front of it here. Run this backwards. So you can see it goes backwards. There's the second flip and a wing coming off on that side.
Okay, note the date down here. This is September 10th of 2017. This was 13 days before the Revelation 12 sign. I've been watching these X-flares happen during the grand solar minimum, and there were some big X-flares not characteristic of a grand solar minimum. I thought something's wrong here. One day I come home, this image is sitting on my computer. This was the third in the series of 3 X-flares. The first 2 were big ones, and everybody, oohed and awed over them. This third one wasn't as big, but it was still an X-flare, and everybody kind of poo-pooed it. And I was about to poo-poo it too. I looked at it and went, oh, must be the third X-flare. I've seen the other 2 already, so this must be that third one. And I went to, click away from it. But it occurred to me, wait a second, this thing was on my computer first. And before I started to click away from it, I hear something say something's wrong with that image. You need to take a closer look. So, I'm not a big Nibiru guy, all right? I've been plagued with UFO activity since I was a young kid, okay? It's very disturbing when you see one for yourself in real life during the daytime. It hits you hard and you realize, they are real. All right, so I was never a Nibiru guy. I seen people taking pictures of the sun with their camera, getting lens flares, and claiming they saw Nibiru. This is not a lens flare from your camera pointing at the sun. This is NASA's coronagraph caught Nibiru 13 days before the Revelation 12 sign. God showed me this. And I was like, what? I don't believe in Nibiru. Well, here it is. And right behind it is the much bigger Nemesis. This object back here is much bigger than our sun. Our sun is the white circle. This thing, much bigger than our puny little sun. Even Nibiru seems to be a little bit bigger than our sun. Anyways, this massive object right here fits the description of many definitions. A black hole, neutron star. It's our burned out, our binary twin is burned out and collapsed down into a stellar core so big and so dense that it bends and absorbs light. Basically a black hole. Okay, because a black hole is not a hole in the fabric of space-time like Disneyland and all these screwballs want you to think. A black hole is not a hole. It's a super dense spheroid. You cannot go through a super dense spheroid. 1 teaspoon of this object right here would weigh more than the Earth. That's how dense this thing is. And it's so dense that when it goes by our sun, it rips plasma off the sun and it drapes over this. This thing is invisible. It absorbs light. It doesn't reflect light, so you can't see it. But when it interacts with the sun and plasma drapes over it and caresses it, like much like an invisible table, and you throw a tablecloth over it, it paints the corners, the edges, the contour, and it shows you our round spherical shape. There is your black hole being silhouetted by a coronal mass ejection. And God showed this to me and told me I need to warn everybody. Now, this showed up 13 days before the Revelation 12 star alignment. In the Revelation, it says there was a great sign in heaven, a woman dressed with the sun, with the moon at her feet, and a crown of 12 stars, and she was pregnant. That was on the 23rd. Then it says another sign appeared. A great red dragon stood in front of the woman, or stood before the woman. Well, the woman stood on the 23rd. The dragon stood in front of the woman, 13 days in front of, 13 days before the woman. The dragon stood before the woman, ready to devour the child. Everybody missed the dragon. They were all looking for it at this time, too, because they saw the star alignment. And they all looked for the dragon after the star alignment, but they didn't read it properly. It says it stood before the woman. And there it is. There is the dragon of Revelation 12, Nibiru and Nemesis. Okay? And this is where my life changed. When I was shown this, well, let's just continue. Because when I say I was shown it by God, that just doesn't sound realistic. So let's just continue. Because right after that wonderful event happened, was this one. Yep, right here. Okay. Let's see if we can get into this. Let's see if you can see up above here. Whoops. That date right there says October 5th of 2017. So this is, 12 days after the Revelation 12 star alignment. And we'll get to this in a minute, but I got to start the other part. Because the day before that is this, all right? Now you can see this date up here, October 4th of 2017. This is 11 days after the Revelation 12 star alignment. We got some kind of other light. There we go. Now, I'm going to play this for you guys really quick.
Still in the garage with our same display right here. And this was actually captured the day before the other picture, but I hadn't found it for years later until I was digging around through my, my old pictures and stuff and went even further back to see if I'd missed anything. And I captured this one. And we're going to zoom into this streak right up here. This one right here. Bear with me for a second here. Now, hopefully, you can see
that we have a lady's profile here. Here's her eye, here's her forehead, her snub little nose, here's the bottom jaw. She's smiling, she's looking down, and she's holding a baby. And here's the baby's head right here. Here's the face, the back of the head. Here's her arm cupped around like this, and she's holding the baby. Now I'm going to run this through the filter real quick, and it's going to enhance it, but a little bit too much. See, now you can really make out her profile a lot better and see her face, and her headdress is coming over and going down back behind her. And you can still make out the baby's head right here. And maybe if I pull back a little bit, there we go. And this was captured on October 4th. So this was about 11 days after the Revelation 12 sign. All this stuff started happening to me just prior to the Revelation 12 sign and then right after it. So it said the woman was about to give birth. Well, it looks like maybe she gave birth, and here's the little baby being caught up to God. Yep, it's a lot better there. Hopefully you guys can see this a little bit better now than before. We'll undo the filter real quick just so you can get the original. Now you can see the baby's head just a little bit better. You can make out his little ear. And then we'll put the filter back in again. And there we go. There's your Revelation 12 baby being born right there in my garage, caught on my security camera. So that's it for now.
Okay, then the very next day, I did the wake-up call report. Okay, that was a hard one to do because I'd never done anything like this before. How am I supposed to tell everybody about this stuff and sacrifice my reputation and I was, well-trusted individual. Everybody thinks I'm crazy now, but I'm crazy about you. So let's just go.
Welcome back. So I've been going through some of the old photos and running them through the filter, and this was one of the first ones that I had ever captured. And what's going on here is I'm here on my knees. I'm crying and screaming and praying, all three at once. I was in some
I thought I was going to die.
Extreme anguish. A paranormal traumatic event happened to me. Something so unbelievable you guys wouldn't believe it. So if I told you, so I'm going to show you instead. So in this image here, I'm sitting here praying, and Mary's head appears right next to my head, and we're going to zoom in on this. You can't go in too tight on it, but she's looking down at my head this way. Let's see, there's pretty good. And you can make out her eye and her nose coming down.
Yeah, that's too tight. We got to pull
Shawl
back.
coming over, and it's in shadow right here. This is a shadow of the inside of her shawl going over her head like this. Here's her eye, her nose, her other eye would be on the other side there. Okay. You can't go in too tight on it. And then also is this white ball with an eye in it, this white orb with an eye in it. Okay, and that's not all, because over here in this corner up here is an angel, the silhouette of an angel with his wings spread, with his back to us, standing in a shaft of light. Here's his head, there's a glow over the head, the wings are extended, and there's a feather coming off. The last feather coming off is crossing over these brown roof tiles in the background here. And you can make out there's an angel right here, and you can even see his head right here. Going a little bit tighter.
These are real. This is real. The real
Here's
spiritual
the angel
realm.
with his back to us and his wings spread. Yeah, you can see a lot better with the filter. Before it was really faint and it was hard to see. Same with this. This came out a little bit better here. Yeah, there's Mary looking down at my head because I was in anguish. I mean, what happened to me was just so disturbing.
I already kind of described to you what happened to me there. So we had that event happen. And then I had all these wonderful faces in the clouds that like to follow me everywhere I go. So let's just do that one really quick. And then we'll do our rating. You guys have been so patient, so hang in there. I got a whole series of them. Okay, you can go over to the community and see all the different ones. Where did that go? Oh, here's your sun. Here's the sun doing that weird thing. In fact, we need to go back to that. We're just going to start pulling up images to read too. There it is. All right, let's get this one pulled up.
Take charge. Start.
Yeah, take charge. Stop going to college. Really? Enough of you guys profiting off of my... All right, another event that happened here real quick. Let's just go ahead and play this video for a second. Howdy folks, welcome back. So I was snapping some pictures of the clouds yesterday, and I noticed something forming in the clouds, what looked like a face over here. And I'm gonna start zooming in on this face because it's a real face. Too tight. There we go. And we got wavy lines, of course. Back behind it here, let's zoom in just a little bit. You'll notice that back behind here, this face is being projected by Jesus's heart right here. You can see it radiating out. Here's Jesus's face. He's pulling open his shirt, exposing his heart. His heart's radiating out this image in the sky. See his face here? And there's a crown right here. Also in the etherical, in black, there's another crown right here. Anyways, I just wanted to show you this picture. All right, there's a good spot. We'll freeze right there. Never mind my face and everything in the crown right now. I want you to focus on this beautiful image right here. Jesus pulling open his shirt like Superman, except instead of an S, he's bearing his heart. It's radiating out and causing the clouds to make a face. It's making my face. I recognize this face. I see it in the mirror every morning when I shave. All kinds of weird activity happening to me. Also here, let's just do this really quick here. A few moments later, in this image, I took a picture of the same cloud, but this is at a different angle. I rotated it 90 degrees. I want you to look right up in here. You can see that there's a face, two eyes, smile, here's the head. And the arms are outstretched, and he's holding a cell phone taking pictures of the sky. This is an image of me taking the pictures of the clouds. So the clouds are now mimicking me taking pictures of them. Okay, you understand that? Can you see this is me? This hurts a lot. I have shattered shoulders, so to hold my arms up at a 45-degree angle and hold a phone out like this for a long time, it hurts. And you can see my arms shaking. All right? But here's my face showing up in the clouds. The clouds are mimicking me taking pictures of them. So here's my face in the clouds. Then in the same cloud, here's my face again in the clouds being projected by Jesus' heart. All right. Okay, let's keep going here. I'm trying to blend a couple of different things together because we got newcomers and we got other stuff. It's important you kind of know the background because it brings you guys a little bit more security. And why is everything all wavy line tonight? Sorry, my OCD, it really bugs me. Come on now. So we're going to come over here to the albums, I think it is. No, it's in the favorites. So let's just see here where to go. Here we go. This is what the sun looked like on September 10th of 2017. During that X-flare event, it had 2 sunspots, this coronal hole, and then something went in between the sun and us, and then it came in from the left and then went up and moved up and covered half the sun, yet these eyes still appeared through it. Now, you know what we can do right there? Those are the images. Maybe I could show you the video of that. We'll do a little Halloween theme really quick here early, and then do the reading. So, happy Halloween. Oh. Here we go. That's what the sun looked like. There's your X flare. There's your spooky music too. Yeah, nothing scarier than the sun, because it has the power to take us all out. Yeah, I'd say there's nothing scarier than the sun, especially when it looks like this on Revelation 12. And then coming here soon in the little, where is it? Here it is. It's coming up here in just a second. All right, watch something come from the right, go across. Note, it's still going for an hour. It eclipsed the sun for an hour and then went up. Right there. You see that frame? There's no eyes in this frame. It went from that frame, from that to full, from that to full. This frame doesn't exist. That one is not in the frames from NASA. It's not in there, yet it showed up on my computer. It popped up, my computer froze with that on there. And I had the wherewithal to just grab my phone and take some pictures of my computer screen. I had to unplug my computer, reboot it and everything after this image froze on my screen right there. And it's right in between. You see that frame right there in the pop-up? There's no eyes in it. And then the next frame is full. So it's a frame that doesn't exist. Yet it does exist. Happy Halloween, you guys. I hope the sun doesn't go off on us. All right, so back to our spiritual report here. Let's get images pulled up now. Go back to, whoops, no, that was right. That was right. Right there. There we go. Okay, an old faithful right here, our foundation, your rock. This event took place on Easter. Okay, 2,000-year-old prophecy. If you can't see it, tilt your head to the right a little bit. There's a face right here. 2 eyes, a nose, a mouth, a chin, and a beard down here with the hair flowing back. And you can make out the crown up above here. Okay, tilt your head to the right a little bit because it's at a 45-degree angle. Now, this image is so big and in the sky, you can barely see it. It just looks like clouds. Okay? It's not until you compress these that they become more clear. All right? So this activity is happening in your clouds all the time, and it's just in a dimension that you can't see. If you could step outside of your body and walk about a mile behind from where you are, turn around and look, then you could see it. But you're stuck inside your body, your perspective can't see these quite. You can see some of them now. They're becoming more and more clear every day. That's why it's important that you look up. Everybody's waiting for this rapture to just magically whisk them away. No, 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 no. It's much different. And we'll explain that here in a second, too. Okay, these last 2 days have been excruciatingly painful. So, just bear with me. I want a couple things here for you guys, because I know what's going on and what you're feeling, what you're thinking. And there's a lot going on. We're kind of in the middle of this big storm, this maelstrom, right? So, find me in the midst of the maelstrom. Sometimes events whirl around you so quickly that they become a blur. Whisper my name in recognition that I am still with you. And without skipping a beat in the activities that occupy you, you will find strength and peace through praying my name. Later, when the happenings have run their course, you can talk with me more fully. Okay, when you're in the middle of something and there's so much going on, it's hard to just break down and full on prayer. Just whisper my name in recognition that I am still with you. And without skipping a beat in the activities that occupy you, you will find the strength and peace. Okay. Another thing, these days are getting harder and harder, right? And one of the things we have to learn is acceptance. All right, and accept each day as it comes to you. So don't waste your time and energy wishing for a different set of circumstances, because I do that too. All right, I get caught up in that too, and we all have this tendency to just wish our circumstances were different, you know. But since they aren't, we have to practice this discipline of acceptance and accept each day just as it comes to you. Do not waste your time and energy wishing for a different set of circumstances. Instead, trust me enough to yield to my design and purposes. Remember that nothing can separate you from my loving presence. You're mine. You are mine. If you are still here and you see this face in the clouds right here, this is my face. Remember I was just showing you my face in the clouds? This is my face in the clouds, coming with power and great glory because of who I am. If you are here at this moment and you are intrigued by what you see, much like a good book or a good song, you get caught up in it. You are caught up with me in the clouds. Get it? Do you understand how you are caught up with me in the clouds? This is rapture. The word rapture is not in the Bible. Yet everybody is insistent on post-trib, pre-trib, rapture. No. A black hole is not a hole. It's a solid thing. When you see me coming in the clouds, you will be caught up. It's not like the rapture where you're going to turn into this white dot and disappear up into the air like Hollywood has you portray. The word rapture is not in the Bible, and yet everybody keeps using it like it is. They'll argue over pre-trib, post-trib because they're still stuck on it. But you have been raptured. You see me coming in the clouds. Now your faith is complete. you can still have faith, but you can know now too. And when you know, that strengthens your faith even more. You are indeed caught up with me in the clouds. I went ahead and provided a place that where I am, you may be also, here at this channel, where I can't come over to your house, but we can meet in the air of cyberspace. So you are caught up with me in the clouds where we met in the air of cyberspace, where I went and made a place that where I am, you can be also. Where's the one with the heart? There it is. Okay. Expect to encounter adversity in your life, remembering that you live in a deeply fallen world. So stop trying to find a way out of circumstances that circumvents your difficulties. Okay? The main problem with an easy life is that it masks your need for me. So when you became a Christian, I infused my very life into you. Do you see me infusing my life into you? This picture right here? It's maybe a little bit better right there. Too close. The main problem with an easy life is that it masks your need for me. When you became a Christian, I infused my very life into you, empowering you to live on a supernatural plane by depending on me. You guys live on a supernatural plane now. You got 1 foot in the spiritual and 1 foot in the physical. And you're doing awesome. You guys are kicking ass at this too. I'm so thankful some of you have actually tried. And you're enjoying the benefits. And one of the best things is, where's this one right here? You see this face right here? I got a book light shining on my face right now as I kind of try to keep it out of the screen and, over here are my notes. So half of my face is in the light and half of my face is in the dark, just like here. This is my face right now reading to you. And anticipate coming face to face with impossibilities. Anticipate coming face to face with impossibilities, situations totally beyond your ability to handle. This awareness of your inadequacy is not something you should try to evade. Quit trying to evade your inadequacy. It is precisely where I want you. It's the best place to encounter me in my glory and power. When you see armies of problems marching toward you, cry out to me. Allow me to fight for you. Watch me working on your behalf as you rest in the shadow of my almighty presence. You guys right now are resting in the shadow of my presence. I am present with you. You hear my voice. You are resting in my shadow. Where's that one with the heart again? I want it better. I want it right. There. That's better. About wavy lines and stuff. It should be nice and clear so you guys can see it. Good enough. Okay. I continually call you to closeness with me. I know the depth and breadth of your need for me. I can read the emptiness of your thoughts when they wander away from me. And I offer rest for your soul as well as refreshment for your mind and body. As you increasingly find fulfillment in me, other pleasures become less important. Knowing me intimately is like having a private wellspring of joy within you. This spring flows freely from my throne of grace, so your joy is independent of your circumstances. What? Did you guys just know that you can have joy independent of your circumstances? Yeah, some of you who have been practicing this discipline know that you can, and you're finding it. And that's the joy of the Lord. That's when I get pleasure, is when you guys get the hang of this. This spring flows freely from my throne of grace, so your joy is independent of your circumstances. Now, we are waiting. We are patiently waiting, persevering, and waiting in my presence keeps you connected to me, aware of all that I offer you. So while we're here waiting, you're waiting in my presence. Okay, and that's what keeps you connected to me. That's what keeps you aware of all that I offer you. If you feel any deficiency, you need to refocus your attention on me. This is how you trust me in the moments of your life. Okay? When you see this, these are real images. Okay? This stuff really happened to me, and is still continuing to happen to me every day. I mean, it just gets more and more intense every day. And I have to use these tools every day. And what I bring to you in these readings comes hot off the streets from what I just went through just recently, within the last 24 to 48 hours. So everything I bring you is applicable, hot off the street. Okay, and we're going to close with this one right here. Okay, when you look at this image, this is your foundation. This is your rock. This is so much more than that too. I am a God who heals. I heal broken bodies, broken minds, broken hearts, broken lives, and broken relationships. My very presence has immense healing powers. You cannot live close to me without experiencing some degree of healing. Do you agree there? You guys feel the healing when you live close to me, when you trust me with this? You cannot live close to me without experiencing some kind of healing, some degree. Okay? It is also true that you have not because you ask not. You receive the healing that flows naturally from my presence, whether you seek it or not, but there is more, much more, available to those who ask. See these images? These are much more that's available. It's not just all the healing. There's more, okay? The first step in receiving healing is to live ever so close to me. What does living close to me mean? Well, seeing from my perspective. You can see this. You understand that it's real. You can see me looking down on the planet from a different perspective. Imagine looking down at the world from this perspective and seeing all the problems down below, all these people running around. Then you would see from my perspective that is living close to me. The first step in receiving healing is living close to me. The benefits of this practice are too numerous to list. So as you grow more and more intimate with me, I reveal my will to you more directly. When the time is right, I prompt you to ask for healing of some brokenness in you or in another person. Okay? When the time is right, I prompt you to see if you're going to react. I prompt you. Okay? And you're sensing some of those prompts. You're like, what? What's going on here? Okay? So, I prompt you to ask for healing of some brokenness. Okay? You're asking for healing whether it's in you or in another person. So I have been prompting you to ask for healing either in you or someone else. The healing may be instantaneous or it may be a process. That is up to me. Your part is to trust me fully and to thank me for the restoration that has begun. I rarely heal all of the brokenness in a person's life. My grace is sufficient for you. Much healing is available to those whose lives are intimately interwoven with mine. Ask and you will receive. Okay. Real deal, you guys. Look, see all these images? These are all separate images. I took these ones and rotated them 9 degrees so you don't have to tilt your head a little bit. These are all individual images of the clouds taken on this day. See, you blow it up like this, it just kind of looks like a regular old cloud in the sky, right? It's not until you step back you can see it's changing into that little lion face. And maybe we should close out with that little video then. Go back to Christmas gift. All right, all real stuff that's happened to me over this past 7 years. Just the other day was the 7-year anniversary of the baby being born in the garage.
Until a shelter is installed, customers can keep their meters safe by clearing meters using a broom.
Oh, yes.
Zoomed out and compressed them. You didn't zoom in. They're too big in your face. You have to zoom out to see these.
All right, let's just try this again.
Howdy, folks. Welcome back. So I know there's a lot of activity going on in the sun, but I really don't feel like reporting on that stuff right now. Actually, I want to go back and revisit an event that happened earlier this year, 2020,
Lord, huh?
around Easter, when I captured what appears to be Jesus in the clouds here. So I need you to tilt your head to the right about 45 degrees, and here's an eye, his other eye, his nose, his mouth, his chin and beard, his hair flowing back like this, and you can make out a crown up here above his head. That crown is hovering over his head. There seems to be almost a little halo around his head too. And once you see that image, then we can zoom in just a little bit tighter. There you go. Okay, and this event happened over a course of about an hour, and I got a lot of pictures of it. See, if we go up above here, you can see all these pictures up from way over here going across, or all of this event, and I'm going to show you more of what happened here. Okay, here I've taken about 7 or 8 of those pictures and put them together in a flip book, and you can see the different images, and that this event, is taking place here because there's more that happens here. Okay, so starting here, we're going to go forward a little bit here through a lot of these images, all the way to right about here, where you can see that this face has changed now. Now we're seeing a more round, like lion type face with the nose right here. Here's an eye coming out here, an eye going that way. Here's its mouth slit, the chin going down here. So this round face right here with a crown still above it. Now I'm going to go through and show you the flip book where it changes from Jesus to this lion face. Okay, now we're here at this image right here. This is a flip book of about maybe 15 or 20 of those pictures, and it's the transition between Jesus's face and the lion face. Now this happened in the clouds, and it was so big and in your face you couldn't see it. It wasn't until I took these images and zoomed out and compress them. You didn't zoom in. They're too big in your face. You have to zoom out to see these. And these images that you're looking at have all been compressed, each frame, and then put into a flip book. And you can clearly see Jesus's face here with his crown hovering over his head, turning into that weird little lion face or whatever right there. Okay? And this happened back around Easter of 2020. So,
On Easter. Whoops, wrong one. All right, so I think that might be it for tonight. There's some of those images right there. Okay. Real event took place. 2,000-year-old prophecy came true. That should give you guys some peace, some courage, some fortitude, and just keep practicing while you're waiting patiently. Persevere. Try to salvage your day. If you're having a bad day, take a break, pray, regain composure, and try to bring that light into other people's lives. Your face will shine like this if we can get this working. Your face will glow like this and shine into other people's lives, okay? So you're supposed to do that. Take your adversity, understand that it's only making you stronger, and then when you overcome it, you'll be shining, bringing that light into other people's lives, bringing them hope as well. Okay, that's how this works. Keep going, keep digging, just wait patiently, keep persevering. It'll be worth it. It'll be worth it, okay? That's my face right there. Okay, I don't show my face very much. I'm not a YouTuber who likes to have his face on the screen all the time. I'll show it this way instead. Okay? But that's a real event that took place out by the moon. I've shown the video several times. They've actually yanked down the video now. Not this one where Mr. MBB enhanced it, but the other video that I was showing. We could even possibly catch part of it there, but it's over here on my channel. You can watch it too as well. So that's it for tonight, you guys. All right. You are caught up with me in the clouds, where we meet in the air of cyberspace. I can't come over to your house right now and give you a nice big hug because I'm kind of laid up. But I can meet my family in the air of cyberspace. And if you see me here in the clouds coming with power and great glory, and you're caught up by what you see, like caught up in a good book or good song or like a good TikTok thread, you 2 hours later you pop out of this trance and you're like, wait, where have I been for 2 hours? You were caught up in TikTok. Well, much like that, you get caught up with me in the clouds here. So if you are caught up with me in the clouds and we met in the air of cyberspace where I went ahead and provided a place that where I am, you can be also, then you truly are a member of a very precious family. Trust, believe. It's always been about belief and trust. When you believe me, when you trust me, the more peace you will get. The more you put in, the more it comes back out equally. So the more you trust, the more peace you will have. If you don't find it quite yet, keep trying. Don't leave until the miracle happens. What you're looking at are miracles. That's why they look odd. All these faces in the clouds are really happening. They're real miracles. It's really happening. You know what else we need to do really quick here? Come back over to my channel here. We got some other stuff really quick here. Oh, where's my community? Yeah, there it goes. Okay, because here's this one doesn't show it too well, but there's a ram hiding in there. There's an eye, his horns, his nose. But let's get into it. There's a dragon with the 2 eyes, nose, and mouth, his horns sticking up. Here's a fox with this little eye, ear coming out here. This little pink fox with this ear. You can see its little mouth and everything down here. Chin. This is some weird Satan skull. Teeth and horns and stuff. This one's the wolf. Big long nose. Smoke coming out of it. 2 eyes here. And then there's also another wolf right here. Here's an ear. Here's the other ear, the eyes, and the nose of another wolf face right here. Right next to this wolf face right there. Oh, dang it, I clicked on it. Go back. just to kind of give you examples of what to look for when you're looking up in the clouds, what these faces look like, how they perform. This one is like 3 faces in one. It has a little cat nose and mouth right here, and you can see the cat eyes. So there's a little cat face. But then if you bring the eyes up here a little bit further, it becomes a wolf. And then if you use eyes way up here, it's a big dragon face. So it's a dragon wolf cat. Multiple faces in multiple dimensions. There's another dragon. See these 2 eyes right here? This one and this one. This ear coming out here. There's another dragon face right there. And this stuff is going on in your skies all over the place. Everywhere I go, this stuff is... You see this dog with his little nose right here. Here's his little whiskers, like a pit bull type dog head looking down. Can you see this cat? See the eye here? There's another eye there. It's a big cat right there. All right. Then there's this. This was captured by somebody else. That's me. I recognize my profile. My hair sticking out over like this. I smoke cigarettes. Sometimes I blow smoke out of my nose, and you can see the smoke coming out of my nose. I don't know. Do you see a face there, or do you just see clouds? Can you see the halo? Remember when I was telling you the weather was spiritual warfare going on in the weather? There's a face in the hurricane right there. Can you see that one? There's this one again. I'm not the only one who's capturing my face in the clouds, so other people are as well. Let's see, what else did I have? Oh, this little bulldog guy right here. His eye, another eye, his nose, and his scrunchy little mouth with his puffy cheeks right there. And then we got that one. Here, I think that one's a little zoomed in. See these faces? This eye, another eye, the big long nose, his mouth and beard. There's a face right here. Giant face. Looks like he's about to snort some clouds. And then there's another face over here looking at him, about to do it. And a lot of people say, oh, this is just pareidolia. Your brain does this to make images. Yeah, that's pareidolia right there with the pareidolic shadow and real eyes. And it's more than just pareidolia, the spiritual realm. There's a broken heart right there. Okay, so some of these faces in the clouds. There's a crown right there. See this dog with his eyes right here, his nose and his tongue sticking out? Can you see the cat? Oh, where's this other one? This is like a cartoon character, like Cat in the Hat type cartoon, but he's got a black cowboy hat on. Here's the one eye here. Here's his other eye. His black nose and his whiskers and his little mouth down here is like almost like Sylvester the cat or some cowboy, bad boy cat, whatever. The spherical effects in our weather, the spherical domes that are affecting our weather. There's one captured right there. Thermal plume coming out of the mountains at a volcanic site. All the rest of the clouds are all at this level, and all of a sudden a big, huge heat plume comes up out of the mountain, It's not a volcanic it's not a volcanic eruption. It's just a heat plume of hot air that's rising up way higher than the rest of the cloud banks. Where is this other dog thing that I wanted to show you guys? And then for you musicians, I'll teach you the code. There's a face right here. There's an eye, the nose, smile right here. This one is like a dog. There's the eye right here. This is the moon, actually right on its nose. And let's see if we can do this. This one, we can do this. Now you see it. Okay, so you can see the cloud formation has made a dog space, and the moon is backlighting it. Here's one with the moon, a round cloud, and this little flat smile. All right, here's the dog face again. The moon's in a little different position, but watch. We'll do this. Can you see the eyes now? And see the dog. Whoops, I got Christmas lights above here, but all right. So these are real faces, okay? If it were pareidolia, then that would be what? Dogadolia? How come it's not all just human faces? It's animal faces, dragon faces, all kinds of different faces and stuff showing up everywhere I go. Everywhere I go, I got UFOs following me, faces in the clouds, advanced races from the past that follow, watch, and study my every movement. Much like you guys who follow on YouTube, you watch my videos and you study these images and you practice the disciplines and you're finding relief. All right? Because who I am. Okay? It's been very hard to do this. Okay? All right, that's it for tonight, I believe, because I think I got to get a little bit of rest here. If you see me coming in the clouds of power and great glory, and you are caught up by what you see, you made the connection that we met in the air of cyberspace where you are caught up with me in the clouds. I made a place where I am, you could be, right here live right now. Okay? You are very precious member of a very precious family. Okay? I love you guys. I miss you guys. It's been a long, hard road. Okay? I miss you guys. And until my next show, I will be back. I am already back. And I am still to come. I'm already here. Breaking headlines. Screw the war, screw all the election, breaking headlines, 2,000-year-old prophecy came true. He's back, he's here, walking around in the flesh like last time. Why anybody thinks it would be any different than last time? I don't know. I guess Hollywood has warped people's... Well, that's it for tonight. I love you guys. I miss you guys. Hang in there. You're doing good. You're really hanging in there tough like you're supposed to. If you see me caught up in the clouds here and you're caught up, it's because you're a precious member of a precious family. I love you all. I gotta go. Until my next show, I will be back. I am already back. Can't you tell?